Ensemono pi kan we no mo ho ena enwumre ya bekin kan e dia so mo se prime time e wo Kaakyire TV so kase no be se twa ne ho e wo Facebook ene YouTube Kaakyire TV ena Kaakyire TV GH enti wo join yen emu bia no like ya share na obi ahwe bi ya boa ni nyina so ano de akogu www.kaakyireonline.com ko ho na ko kenkan bi Midi edi AFIA tum wa Kaakyire nwumre mene.
Obrempon akwasi jebo.
Ena yeso mo ye besra ono aka ye ho nchemu. Ya shaka se no ase na Ghana mampani John Dramani Mahama Edi atu jase bremu ade ya ebibifo eye Africa nyina ehia edi free wiase amansan enchen ene nkabomu mapa obi ade nadwene ebeboa na wono masoso di aboa won ho se de ebeya empuntu obetumi ahyeta ewo ebibremu na kwasi kokko so mfaso a ewo mo ne nsa aka nemom se de kwasi kokko ehunu ebibifo bre bia na se ehuma bronsonku bi na wono ye won ho se da bia Africa de obedwane etoa kwasi kokko no saa de no atwam enti omonsan nkọ wonchi na won kwakenkan ayonkofa ya wo mo ne abibifo afa emu biemu na adwene ya wanya ade afa abibifo ho se da bia wono eba wo be lela sulala no won hwe no onyini nyina kwa mampani Mahama ekasa ye ewo 12th Africa debate ase ena wo kire se anka ne no nanka ebibremu ewo niema ahodo bebre ye obo ade nyankopon de adom no enti saa niema no wono mutu se ye fmagudie se ye fanwo raw state no a na wono mutu mirika de akoma broni se wona dani sika kakra befiri mu aba no de bia bre Africa se Africa so ani ate eno nti wo mo ankasa ejina wona so ni okuta wo mudie mu abiebie wo mfiri dwuma na wo mo atimi de adada obo ade ne power de adom abibifo no ani amamfa subum ye sese eba so no wo mo ankasa anya bim afei won mo ankasa esai ahemfiri dwuma mu kena se de ebeya wo benya ahoden na wode aye eniema esefata ama won mo sika samatimi afa ne ntuma pa efra na wo se ebre ekọ animu no da akye yonkofa bia ye bibifo epe ede afiri kwasi kokọ ho no won mo pese eye de emu do ye de adwentoato a efiri afanu no nyina beba won mu wia mfaso esese obia enya free mu no ne nsa beka ne de pepepe na enkonkoba se da bia se kwasi kokko hu se Africa fo eba mo se aha nya no wo mo te da se abrawa no ama okra so no oba sese sa ne ma no atwam ebibre mu tete mabunu ya wo mo ankasa ebenya nimde wo abefo ekwantempon so na wo matimi de wo madwene aye bibi aboa ama Africa afa ne ntuma pefra sympathy bre no atwam.
For too long, Africa was viewed primarily through the lens of aid, crisis, and dependency. But that narrative is collapsing under the weight of current reality. The Africa of today is youthful, it is dynamic, it is entrepreneurial, it is digitally connected, it is resource-rich, and increasingly reform-oriented. Africa is home to the world's youngest population. And by 2050, 1 in every 4 people on Earth will be an African. Our continent possesses vast reserves of critical minerals required for the global energy transition, including cobalt, lithium, manganese, copper, bauxite, and rare earth elements. The African Continental Free Trade Area, the largest free trade area in the world by number of participating countries, presents unprecedented opportunities for industrialization, manufacturing, and intra-African trade. This is not merely Africa's future potential. This is Africa's present reality. Even amid global uncertainty, Africa continues to demonstrate resilience and growth. While many advanced economies struggle with stagnation, Africa remains one of the world's fastest growing regions. But let me also state clearly, Africa does not seek sympathy. Africa seeks partnerships, fair partnerships, strategic partnerships, mutually beneficial partnerships. The era in which Africa served merely as a source of raw material for other nations' industrialization must end. The future relationship between Africa and the world must be built on value addition, on industrialization, technology transfer, infrastructure investments, skills.
Omampeni John Dramani Mahama to so editu just said. And now about a bibremo, a sign about dear Nipaya, what they adrum ebi before a 1 month since the Monteno. Obet me a casse, a reasia man, Sayaman Tamahudua, one edi Mirika, a mini was Casemono, Africa, a can be a favor say. Ghana, a biena promo at home. Ya waji a yuma, Nina, wa two, so 1 mumra on my imo. Now 1 more maybe a yuma fi send ne, and penny for the Shisha Egua business environment, no. And Yamadana Quemua. Ehuni surobia animu say investor edini sika ebe hye o my Ghana mum na won muguso a etoto niama e won fidi dwuma mu se de be ya so obi kura pese oba Africa na obebie adwuma obehunu se Ghana ene kwan pa esese wo fa so na won mo ba so anya de a obenu won.
Ladies and gentlemen, the message I bring to investors today is simple. Ghana is open for business. But beyond that, Ghana is ready for strategic partnerships that are anchored in long-term value creation. Our government is undertaking major reforms to improve the ease of doing business. We're strengthening transparency, we're modernizing our infrastructure, and we're creating a more predictable investment environment. We're investing aggressively in our transport infrastructure, roads, railways, and ports, energy reliability, agro-industrial parks, logistical corridors, aviation and air cargo systems, digital infrastructure, skills development, and innovation ecosystems. Our flagship Big Push infrastructure program is creating investment opportunities across road, rail, energy, housing, water systems, and logistic infrastructure. We're also prioritizing local participation in investment partnerships because sustainable growth must create domestic capacity and shared prosperity. For investors gathered here today,
Yentwaso ewo ebibiman enkomo no amu na obepiem wo my Ghana ene Ghana mra hyebedwafie no ene asetena bi ekoso wo honom na enye Ghana mra hyebedwafo ene koye eye 4th Interparliamentary Conference ya ekoso na se ebibiman mu hanom mra hyebedwa ni nyina enumu enipa hodo na wonum ebifri ha na wabehia wo my Ghana mu na wodi sa adwuman na asemti a eda adwumadie no Eswo ene se family, sovereignty and values eno ena ene wonum bedi ho nkomo se abusiabo abibi mamu man ahodo nyina yenhwe se yebetumi abo abusia se yenyina ye nipa baako sanso na sovereignty se yankasa yebetumi ade ye ho na afi so values na ne ye nananom enioma ahodo a wonum de gya ye no yebetumi abo ho ban ne abo ne yie se de beya enyira na eno na mampanin na esefota se na nka wotimi ejina Ghana na mu na wodi nkomo bi ewo emrahye honom nanso mampanin ewo London abrochimamu ya wodidi juma hodo ewo honom eno nti yewura Julius Debra bono na ye chief of staff na okojina mampanin animu na namu na wodi nsem bi etuja na nsem wodi tuja nyina na wo kire se abibiman betumi akoso na yetimi akosoa se sovereignty na ye bo ho ye di ho nkomo na ye pese ye bo ho bra na yetimi di ye ho edi free akosikoko ensemu na yetimi di ye yankasa ye culture edi di juma no ye betumi agina mu sade a ene age se ye yankasa ye wo ye sika ya ye di ebo ye ho bra ye di ye juma hodo nyina na se yetena se na da ne da nyina ye befo ye nchensen akosikoko honom se woma ye sika na yemfa membo yemman no eho brade a ene da ne da nyina wode sika no mayene a ade ba kope ene obeye ye obeye ne se wono nso ede ne mra ene na mamre ede be hye yenkom mu se yenso yemfa ne djuma eno ti se abibiman pese ye de ye ho de a ene ye ni kan ene ye ho wosikasem mu na yenyina ibrane e wosikasem mu se de be ya de nyina ya de ye onyina mu no yebetumi ede yankasa yensika abɔ ho bra na yankɔsresre ɛwɔ abrɔfo hɔ sɛ de bɛyɛ a yenso ye ho bɛtɔ yen ne atimi abɔ yen culture ɛho ban na bra Honorable Julius Debra edi nkɔmɔ no ɔde tudwa sei ɛwɔ mmarahyɛbadwafie.
A sovereign nation must be capable of feeding its people, educating its children, protecting its vulnerable, creating opportunities for its youth, and financing its own development priorities. Across Africa, our citizens do not judge sovereignty by the speeches we make. They judge it by whether the lights stay on, whether jobs are available, whether schools educate, whether hospitals heal, and whether government keeps their promises. The ultimate expression of sovereignty is the capacity of a nation to solve the problems of its people. That is why discussions about cultural sovereignty must be accompanied by discussions about economic sovereignty. We must build economies capable of supporting the social systems we seek to protect. We must strengthen domestic production, support African enterprises, expand regional trade, and create pathways to prosperity that are anchored in our own priorities and realities.
Ewa sensia mukesia ekoso ewa Ghana mrashe bejafie ni muno ena. Right Honorable Speaker Abansoma na Kingsford Bagbin. O my Ghana mrashe bejane chia mehine. Wanonso edin semi bi eto so sade yera Julius Debra ekaya no se. Adia baako a wodi nani edi akire no ohun se atenasia emfie bebre na wobi anya na dwene so obeka ho asem. Ene se abrebia ebibiman ebedwane akotoa kwasikokko se wo kwa akopesika mo a edibi no. Eya won mo de mo na eba na emata ho emra eka ho. Sede won mo di sika no ebema wo na wakyerɛw ekwan afaso eba obra ewo wo mamu. Ekwan afaso ya won totoe ewo amamre ne wamane mu ani ade no enya ade a eboa. Eba ne sa amansan Kubatan United Nations won mo nhyehyeye ya wakukyerɛ gu ho efa emoa ya esese ewiase amansan ede ema amaman nyina no na won mo eye atwe ho afiri ho woso oman bia ene sede na bakosam etie baabi a nani ekyerɛ ene niema wo pese wo ye no oduru ho enti ya na eye papa se obi akọ ahokyerɛ mu na wodwane akotoa ne nua ewo man foforo so na wakɔpɛ mmoa na nipa no ede emra ene mata ho bebre ebeka saa emmoa ne ho eba saa amamra ya saa oman kro no ede ekyekere ne man no ena emmoa kakra wo de ema no nti wo pese o man firi ho enti obesre pa se firi saa bre ya ekɔ ene ya won mu nyina ehia mu adwendwene ewiase enkabo mu ene hia ehia se obia ehye na wonya ne fa ahodie ewa ade ye onyina mu no ewiase amansan entu ohofo emfiri saa emmoa emata ho ene emramra bebre ya na ebata sika moa anasa moa hodo bia wo mo de ma amama ya hodo a aka na eba ne saa emmoa.
Christmas, you people celebrate some gentleman who goes around giving gifts. What's his name? Santa Claus. That is where Santa Claus comes from. That's why he's presented in that way, because of the cold weather. Please, we must reflect our identity, our uniqueness, who we are. So a law that does not resonate with the spirit, history, and moral conscience of the citizenry is a dead law. As African legislators, our loyalty must remain anchored to the mandates given to us by our electorates. There is an urgent need for us to redefine the African family structure in the 21st century. In trying to do so, we must avoid adopting an oversimplified or imported definition of the family. The Western concept of the nuclear family, isolated, individualistic, lonely, and strictly bounded, fails to capture the expansive, resilient, and self-sustaining genius of the African family. And so over there they say chop time, no friend. In Africa, it's a chop time that you show friendship. True or false? True. We're brought up to always reserve food for sudden visitors. Any woman that failed to do that, if the sudden visitor enters, you forfeit your.
Yentwa so ewo chairman enchi Bosiako. Dodo na efreno chairman wontumi. Wono na se wopie mu asante mantamu a. Woye NPP woso no kokroko amanyoko no wonum titina ni. Na ne ho nsem de ene echen wotwen ho enyi. Yaka efa courto, woko courto ne ochina da bia courto se wodi akoniaba ne nyina ene se. Chairman wontumi concession ya ewo Samara Boy. Na wotu foma gudiye ewo so no eno na empanifo ede atentam ne komu na wo kire se eye illegal mining de freno gadamse no eno bi na wo ye ewo honum eno nti empanifo atwe no dese ede no akogina asem asenibia ya wonum edi nasem na nanka chama wontumi pese court no timi ema no tumi nanka asem no kra no enka yentwen sensen na ye ani Nti nanka court na etwen no a se obe open defense na watwen ya wo open nti enne bukoi June 3 na chema wontumi wonum akọ bie defense no ewo honum ya AFIA chese asem no ekwan no emu abie ya wonum betumi adi na wode de esese wode emra no eto no wode eto na wode ekoye ewieye no na empanimfo ya wonum etna ensam ne so edi nkomo no wonum kirese sesei no ebra wo bebie defense no wo hwe ani mu kwanse woni e ka ho bia adansifo so abeka wonum de ene Evansade wonum abedi wonum adansie ye sefota se wodie ni nyina wabedi enti enei ebra attorney general deputy attorney general ya wono akro ya esan ye minister for justice Dr. Justice Sremsai wono eye cross examination na ne wobusa na Mr. Adey enso eya no wobusa wie ya na wo kire mu se sesei bosomi ya ye womu ya ne da ya etoso edunson 17th enkrata bia ne nsem bia da wonum pese wo kiro no won kiro emfamra se de be ya AFIA asenie no ebetimi akoso ententem wano na wahye se bosomi ya eda ye nim July ne da ya etoso nyensa na AFIA wonum betina asem ne so na wobua asem no se de ye behu ba bia suicide board hono ebefa na chema wontumi wobedi nkonimu o wobedi nkugu o July 3 no na bekire na eno na panimpa baako ya wono eye lawyer ya wono ejina mu bie edema chema wontumi oye lawyer Tete Thompson woni centralfo edi nkomo ebra wonum edi asem no wie ye ewo high court no sei eno de tuja.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start by saying we are grateful to each and every one of you for keenly following up on this case and updating the general public on what has been transpiring. Today, Chairman Wontumi has finished submitting his evidence in support of himself against all the charges leveled against him. Today, we called on our last witness, and for that reason, the case is nearing its end. The case has been adjourned to the 27th of July, to the 4th of July, 3rd of July for the final judgment. On our part, we have done what is necessary, and we are very convinced the system will work and the court will do what is needful. So we have been directed to file our written addresses before the 17th of July, if we so wish, 17th of June, and we intend to file because we are convinced the evidence we've led so far should support the stance of Chairman Wontumi that in him pleading guilty that he is not guilty. So we thank you very much for coming, and then we will see you on the day.
So for the purposes of clarity, what do you mean by if the court will work?
We are just saying definitely judgment will be given, and we are saying going by what we have given, we are convinced that the court will do its work. And judging by what we have given, judgment is supposed to be rendered by the court. But we are standing on the evidence we have submitted so far, and we are saying we are convinced that what chairman has done so far is convincing. We have convinced ourselves, and we are satisfied that.
Said chairman want to me, lawyer Tikwa no oboni trinko say oh eno na wo ka no. Na no na Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General was no akroya san Minister for Justice. Dr. Justice Remsai and so the two just say, oh, they say the Obia Edin Juma, yes, a fata say, what the Obeba ama ya closely defense no, Obia Abba, and until you share no more coin say, Bosome ya edi any muno, Ted no, won't bet me at Nasie, now will bua sem no cry.
The defense have closed their case, they closed it today, and the court has said 3rd July for judgment.
Effectively, what does it mean to the people who are looking forward to looking for this case? They make the point that the cases are delaying. Effectively, what does it mean?
Well, the courts do their work based on the rules of court. So, whatever we consider, those of us outside the court, whatever we consider as delay, sometimes as a result of the rules of court, even though indeed there are other things that can cause the delay. But what is more important is that on the 3rd, the court will make a pronouncement whether or not the accused persons or any of the accused persons, is guilty of the offense.
Now, we no for frokra, after the decan, said Chairman want to me, first year the cock a diaconiabano, after the one in central for Casano say, oh, one across Syria, after the Nania Japa, oh, if you look good, papa, and until I share no more can say, be a bit me a call one, bra, walk Casano, what it would just say.
Chairman, how do you feel? Good.
I'm happy. All right.
Effectively, happy.
Chairman, so feel good. Yeah, share the suicide body on July 3, 2026. Yada so I was na Supreme Court and Yakudru. Ashafo Bekaya Abraham Pedi John Dramani Mahama ba ye na IGP anu wo ho. Yera George Akufu Dampare obeyi ni free ho na wo pa ofufro wo ho sesei no. Ensem bebre ni nkomodie ehase ebobo ebaye. Imani Ghana fo edi nkomo se wo mo ni nye kwan a asa constitution no ama to me se mampani bia ba nipa wo ho se IGP se prison service say Comptroller General awada Ghana Immigration Service ano wotimi wo mu nyina free hosa no nipa ne nya bone kra wo mo se proceed no kwa retirement wo kwa wo mabiem ti wo mo twe asam no ekopi o my court ba time say won mo nhwehwe mu na sa tumi no a mampani bia wo se wo ba wo yi sa nipa free ho no opa afoforo no wo mo enyim free ho na Supreme Court etna asam no so na atemuafo no ya akoma konson na nipa na wote epunuti Justice Gabriel Scott Kwaman enipa nso ni nyina ko benkromu wo maso mo eka ne se Imani Ghana fo asem nso bia nyina mu ne won mo kan se mampani enya tumi ya wode edi sa adwuma wo yi obi de foforo aba no constitution no my Ghana mamra wo tintim na fe apama ankra de okromiedu na de sa tumi na ema mampani afei wokọ Ghana mra hyebedwafie Normal somra ya wadi edi dwuma no a eho na Comptroller General Emma Ghana Immigration Service de no eno so free ba enti ya mra ya eda ho ya watintim aya adwuma nya afei na wo mkoyi wo bi free ho anti ase anya adwuma nti wo be sakra no enti Supreme Court agi atomu ahyemden se mampani ewo tumi no ampa se wo ba wotimi eyi obia na ni nye ne ho se bia atemu adwuma kuo no anase mpo one year one more share on my Ghana mamra ejumadi ahodo so ene one year eye bambo ejina tukuo ejuma no wo yi wo mo free ho no ode nipa foforo eba na ebra wo mo di asem ni nyina ewie ye no ora Kofi Bentel awo no waka Imani Ghana ho na wo sa ejina mu ma wo no mo semre ni mu ni wo kire na adwene
of exactly what happened. They informed us that they separated. The case is about the security chiefs, the fire officer, the chief fire officer, prisons, IGP, there are about 5 of them. And the Supreme Court says that they've separated the IGP and I think one other IGP and prison. They've separated them from immigration and fire and others. We don't see that separation in the Constitution or in any law. But the Supreme Court has decided that they have to be separated. And they've said that the IG and the prisons are special cases. And therefore, they've given different rulings concerning those. That was my understanding from what they said. And then the others, like immigration, fire service and code, they've also given a different set of rulings. So, in a sense, what we asked for, they haven't given us. But they've decided what to give us, and they've given that to us. And that's what they explained, that in their mind, the offices are not the same. In our law, as it is written, there's no distinction per se. All right, they all come under 191. They are public servants. They are protected, and all those things that we wrote. But the IG is the Supreme Court is saying that 2 of them should be specially treated, and then the others should also be separately treated. And they gave reasons like the security of the state and the president is the head of the security and a couple of things which it's not clear to us. We went to court on the basis of the law as it is. And the basis of the law as it is that all these officers are public officers. They are protected under Article 191. You can't just get up and sack a person because you assume office. Assuming office as a president or anything is not cause for sacking others. And there are many cases like that. Read the full ruling of the Supreme Court to understand what the reasoning behind what they said. You would have heard what they said, that we need to read it to understand it. So let's all wait. Fortunately, it's ready. So maybe sometime next week we'll get it, and I promise I'll publish it so you can all read it.
With the Supreme Court being a policy court, does it surprise you that they have taken a decision like this?
I am not surprised, but I wished for a different outcome. The security of the state requires stability. And in the previous cases that we cited, if you've read our case, the point that we've made is that it is not a good thing that with every change, you have a churning in our security services. The top is removed, people are shifted. That is not stable by definition. So that every time there's a change, all the top of our security services shift. It causes quite a bit of destabilization. That position is still, a good position.
Ma yentua so ewo District Road Improvement Program. Etonitia efreno drepo no. National Coordinator Honorable Edwin Lante Vanderpoy. Wano enedin sembi atuja. Ebra wonena mu a na wonena mansini no mu. Na wobo ntoa ahwe se. Drip machines ahodo a aban no edema mansini no. Se wonfamwa ama akwan hodo a enye na practice pansam no. Ene wonfoa enkrakra no se de beya wonu betumi enya kwampa afaso na daachi bi yabeye de ama wonu mu no. Eno na wonamu a na woye inspection ene wo hwe se eye edaso ye adwuma edaso wo ho. Na nkomo baako a wose wonamu a wotia ne se drip machines no nkrofo de ye garam sei. Eno se sa drip machines yi ebaye se mo so mo betumi de aboa na mo siesie akwan. Eno de wonu betumi aka de esi ne bo se dabi drip machine bia ne wono mu a wo Ghana hanomu a eye gadam sei wono no hwehwemu a waye no de drip machine bia ne wono mu a wobi ade ye gadam sei eno nti yenhwe na sansem no a enenam monten so na wobi a esi nkrofo no se tuapia na wo wie no wonyai na eno de enokura bia da ni hono mu a ewom ebra wodi nkomo no ode nsem bi sei etuja
on the issue of galamsey make me academic general as the national coordinator may challenge you be there say we will be also our evidence league there what the drip equipment to be a galamsey or baby on country. I will take action within 24 hours. I have no evidence. Me tell them kofoka. There's no evidence. Oh, can you answer? Be no approve among data. Orientation yet the man drip coordinators, There's no drip coordinator who would dare, who will try it. Look, ebinu aye, one year perfect. Ebinu aye mistake 1 or 2. Obekacho, ye you ready? Aye them aye na, ya afum. Aye mu there. fum na fun ye no enye da bia mistake bi anade enye intentional but ye hu da fum na fum ye intentional ye be yiwadi because ya ban adwuma ye nyina na wode nyina ye bomodin da ye be hwede obi ye nti se awo e de wadwe mu no wakoma mu ana wotrim ye de awo pede e benefit from it as against the will of the people now enyi obeji nti up to now the galamsey dey I mean kind of credit Maba Western region mark or some of the districts where galamsey there's no report there drip equipment to be or galamsey no one or two situations say yet there bia what they among for be entase for example Krobi say one kwan was say the opeda assembly may assembly so say yiska what's it don't worry ye be boasika ye dey ato diesel ama assembly na me ya amaye those are the issues I'm hearing no oya medal there Ghanaians actually say there abaning fizi wo ho but sika sem aye akwa atwi kakra nti ye na assembly betumi akabom na yaye ama wo ye
ni Lamte Vanderpoy koswa de tu dwa kire mu se ade ba kopa wonam yasan ya ka kire no ene se se wokopie mu wo mansini bia mu a assembly ni mpanimfo no wonum de drip machines no ma han na wonum age ho sika eno nti wo ka de esisu dua aka kire wo bia bokoko e de ataato se drip machines no yemfa ma han ya aban dia ye de boa ema empuntunyuma ahodo a ekoso wo mansini mu no yetimi edeye eno nti obia wo behu se obi ede drip machine ama han no wo de efre no de bona mane na namontuo mapabia da wo betu na wo de afa sansem no ho no ono nso behwe na watimi atu ho anamo
me say the equipment are not for rental me repeat it the equipment are not for rental them fidi won fa han enti say information bia there DCEB MCEB and now drip coordinator be the fideli be hana. Please report to the National Secretariat. Report. Ghana phone you make say information na my answer kind of information. You be to one among. Peka no.
Aban 24-hour economy enhyehyeye ya wo so de ebeye adwuma no emu ba ko edimu pa 24-hour economy market na wo nam asoye ye hwe mpotamu amemu ahensem ene esomfe ko dwumadie so na wo sisi adwa se de be ya won mo ebetumi edi dwa no pawie anwumra na dwudeso mu na san ba nwuma kwan ede ama omanfo enti omanfrase ya wo de aso ebobọ fom a wo mansini ahodo mu na wo mo ahye edwa no ase yadi ani ekre atwema nwabeagya north a nipa ya wosi aban anemu ewo ho se DC eni owura Mba Zakaria Alembila ono so edi aso abo efom edina assembly no anemu ya wo mo ebe frase esi 24-hour economy edwa no ewo esuofia ebra won mo edi sa adwuma no eni ononyamfo Mba Alebila edi aseda ma mampani John Dramani Mahama se wadwene wo manfo ho se wonam 24-hour economy edwa no so na wo betretre adwadie mu na asan abo nnwuma kwan ede ama obia ya wo pepa se wode ne ho ebehemu afei wode aseda nso ma nananom se bra wo ba wona so se wo pa asase no won mo anyi won totwene no atwa asase a won mo de bedi dwuma etise
the Yankopon ede abedunu yada His Excellency the President Yewura John Dramani Mahama ase enne ya kate so for 24-hour economy market for atwuma obiaja north ewa asofu a na yebeda nananum ase so omode asase edi amaye ho nkrata samu nyina omode aka ho edi amaye duration na yedema 24-hour economy market no 36 months 36 months na so na your commission project no edi ama asofia mai by the proactiveness of the contractor there in me say enso kra na wode ni na aba na wieye omo te shares num a mo de dwa no locable stores any the same ultra modern shares and ye babe ye the amount. And you relocate to another place. Omo be feel safe no mo dwadi ne be yan koso. Ekopim se aha say no ye dey ye 24-hour economic market no ansana omo nyina abam. The one she
isi mba alembila ene kasa ye no na contractor ya ode adwuma no ahye ne nsa eye Darling Tech Company Limited 36 months no a honorable Eka no ye mfie miensa to manfo nhwe ni mu no nhya ase na won mon kenkan emfiri ho na no si ya pe ena project manager edema eco planners and engineering consult engineer Daniel Yeboa wono so church adwuma no a won mo ebeye no nani so ne ma hodo binum a ebeba 24-hour economy market no wasi ebi eye daycare afei shops anasa adweso no omu besie no won mo ewo de wode apono ebetoto anom na obi obagi bibia wama no ehon safoa ena ne ya na won mo etai esie no so ehia pro no nyina bi eka ho won mo wie daycare no sa Women's Bank ebebem na fire services so aka ho bi restaurant pharmacy ena afe niama ahodo binum a ebeboa ama adwadifo de bambo etimi egina brane na won mo ehwe animu se contractor no said omo di sika ne akade bia esafata amano no 26 months no na say 36 months no obetimi dia ya adwuma no awie na wo mo abie dwana no
look at 24-hour economic market and nema ewomu a ye rese contractor ne wie a ye benya any lockable shops stores daycare Women's Bank your police post your fire post your restaurant your open place be a ma municipal no mo ebetonton enema ewo ho your pharmacy shop your clinic enema bebre enema eye more than enema no ye can market papa 24 hours ye digwa wo mo bia no police ni wo ho bibia ebesi bia police ni wo ho a obetima boye ho ban ye nhwehwe mu ne ye nema ya underground no chese contract and less than 2 years betimi yes a project no ye the contractor ni be or well resource obetima ye within 2 years time na chese ya tie self free home dwumadi no be hyase be na otwemienu efiri nne ekwo because afini e be pe be de adwadifo na omo ha no akọ na afi contractor no so aboabo no ho aba nti 2 weeks time na contractor no our site no hyase
Sophia Hema na hinkan ba ne ese womani age anamontuo no ho papa pano adama mpani asese oyose ade yo obehye bossa Sophia man no ebenya 24-hour economy market ena waye ne sa pepepe ne womode aso abofo na contractor na wo sere no se Sophia man no won mo animdifo ne abemfo bebre ya wo mo nsa no adwuma carpenterfo wo ho masonfo enti adwuma no a wo beye no won hwe so obefa laborafo ni nyina fresh Sophia na wo mo so nya sika atombo
finally onyankopon ayede ben aye ama nananom ne yasuasuo ne ahohom nyina so ma opiafo yada asanteman wura wote kokoso ase de de na ase kese so bi masama wo man panyini ne beboa yedwadie aban no omoka market ne yensi but the kind of people ana say nipa e wodwemo no edwa na yede ben yesi a asa ebi ni ho ebi a ebe ka kire no kra no a enru ba ti se 50 enti 50 no me ne wa ye ni dwane bi ho no sa 50 no na me ne o mienu no neutral person ye de be ye kwa akopere ho because edwane yensi enso so edi kan occupied what you say enti be de na aman no nya mfaso mfiri so enya afa no obesi de mu be de da ho enti twedi ampo na ma dawro ma this credit card ato na no so agina so pam se oba de be oba be fa sankrofo ni bi ye de be e wa ha sei eno nkire se ye be fa kuromani na nti koya de bone ane esi da bi obeyire ho aye adwuma de me support wa aye ho anya na me nka so ye kuromani nti me yapam nya kofa de obetimi aye de be aye na be hye kurona ni mu nyam o ye me kura me ko school me ye block work me be ye metal work me ye friend say
adwadifo ni bi so ekasa ye won mo se wojidi se 24-hour economy dwanu a won mo besi wo Sophia no ebeboa won mo papa na peja won mo edwumadie ene wadwadie ya wo ye ewo homo na de ba ko a ba bia won mo ye dwai bi ya na adwadifo no esre ene sempanimfo checha so to no a won mo be ma ne memo ye fine na kululu bia memu katasumo mu aso memu na won mo be bie mu a chester no na se adwoso ahodo no ama woni a esefata na chirei woni a na ewodwan mu dada no wo mankonwini
ya da o mase se sa project kese omo de bre asuofia ibi edwa no kura ho no omo ankasa na ye man no omo san be ye ne kase aman adedi ne empe ye pepa ye so na mo omo da wo ma se de be ya ye be ye ne ntam na ye ne wo dwe be nya ba bi atena na eja ye ho atoy because ye ne wo dwe obi a de bosia na ye adwuma so omo anya ne ntam na se ye ntimi ani dwa na ye man be le ne ahwe ob ne ye nanam adesrede de to contractor na nisna da wo ma omo ye ne ntam man
kase ye mpa na ye tro efe ye munyam hye ba ko wo ni se edom ha ya tra ha che ye pa ya bre ha ye pa anu ase ne de hye ma nti ya wi a omunyi ye twetwene ne de se be kan ya dwa no anu kwa ne de ehia
ane kumase ma da bia eno ano onum de hye wo masa yentu aso ewo atwema nwabiaja south wonum so de wonum so tin pintin kwapa wo 24-hour economy market ne ho na ofofo awie wo mu de no na south fo so de ba se wo bepie mu ewo abuakwa biaye ya eben twoneboa kodua basic school no a ehonum eye kobin asase kobin hreman so abusia wonum asase ya watontoni de ama adwadifo bi ama wonum asisi one shop ewo honum a wo ha no wote edi wonum ja na wokọ authorities empanimfo awodo a wonum wo mansini no mu a mansini no empanimfo ama wo mutumi krata se wotimi si wo mu stores no ewo saa asase no so na wotena ho dija now for the 24-hour economy market buy ya honorable wisdom osei buama e de abatu dwa se ehwo a ene opese wosi no eno nti woni a ete wono mu dija ene wo mu stores ni nyina wono mu sesam free ho se de be ya wo betumi asi ne 24-hour economy market na abeboa na no na adwadifo ene store wurafo e de abatu dwa se wono mu mpene ne empene china wo mu sre mpanimfo se da bi saasase wewe enye ntokwa enye ohyeso na mum emra kwaso no bonum won krata ya ma omutumi se wotena ho na wode won stores no etimi esi wonum se de be ya beboa ama edwadie nso akoso na omo nso etimi anya bi ade ahwe omoma se de da bia wonum ka no eno nti bode to encentrofo ni mu se wosre se anamontuo mapa bia ya wonum betuo no wonhwe na saa asase ne de enko wonkope baabi foforo na wonfanti saa 24-hour economy market no sei na wonum edituja
MCA or Chuba Wabeja South, the fellow Okum Kom, Wabase O2 yen, Sabita Francis, who are in the Empo and Boa, that's all transformed to another Quaja. Ojuno Wansa, Omatam Kakansa, no what Trebans and what me and Atwaso, or buy also on my 2 weeks. Yes, if you had no say 2 weeks in the sense, and one man authority or say, Wako Nanahimao, Asasira, Wako Tike Onum, Asasira, then she had Bobby you on almost Omo Maoye. Ye ruomu ni mu hwe ye bisa no question say in case say the bibisa ada na money enko ka chen say if a certain failure force must apply or the soldier for ele ba betu yen yan so yan pentent say e be say mon ka bi mayen na mon hwe ye mo hu de ekoso mayen yan twa kwan hu nyina 24 hours economy and one ekoso no say usi u just asina enye de na mo de pese obaba ne be ko ticket for ne be ko hema wo no ne ye na atu ye na so ka chen say if a certain failure must apply let's say on pay ye o pay nim guase o pay moja na so ya mani nsisa enu ti ne to aman say mpen for mon ka bi mayen
any park bia na any baby e di agro politicians no haya no moba sorry for who said haya akose wia prophet party haya MPP haya NDC haya obi buama haya ye ni baby sa mpatamu ya wa waso ne wa obi ni baby haya ne nya di agro haya ne oboni diwo
na okum compressor ne ye wo macro tuba kodia fo asase so ye ntini ma bi ase evise sabi
kobin hreman so abusia ya asase no amamra ni amane kwan so eye won dia no so editudwa se eye no kre se asase no eye wonum nananom ene de ma wo mu ena omo anso adane bie ede ama nipa ahodo ya wonum edugya wo so no na wo store so ahodo esisi so no eno ti won tre ase ema empanimfo ya wonum honorable wisdom osebuama eda no wo mesi 24-hour economy no market no emfansi ho enti wosre otumfo oseetu asantemawura se wonfo ne nansi fom na wonum asase wonye na ade emfama wonum sei na wonum de tuja
Saki and Kola, Yadi Buafo, the Tigrafo, Yadi will be a trouble to Fiano. What can be my aim? And I'm not too far, so now, but then I'm not quite sure what can be my aim. Let's see a word chicken and Kakula. Let me pay you be any more for. And take I've seen this over. But you're Japan, I buy. And so several of your mamma, some squaw, two by this, Miss Sam's command in Silibia. What you mean about come? What come about me and new? I'm not suffering about me and new one. You know, I said by the pharaoh. I'm not so mad. I'm so mad. I'm sitting there. And I'm a Roma. Because I am a bomb. Maybe you have a bomb. You really bad. Maybe I don't cry the social future. Maybe I'm a crowd. Maybe I'm a crowd. Miss Waka. Let's you know. Let's come and grab a judgment and that. So I'm a baswa. They can't about phone to my. So I'm to my assassination. Almost to come about phone to my. Come out, we were about phone to a papa phone to my. Some of my assassination. But let me ask you, Mrs. Panini, I'm a quaid. Near say, oh, Pobia won't put it was your assassin. I will go Guama. Won't put it was your friend, no Punuquasian Prince, and another. You're going to see a better to Yabamo. Now your funny says.
Enra nyumre ena konfano cha ban ya sabia ye friend Kumasi G no wono mo ena mo wura kwa me frempon ya wono ena ni amansa di nkuta homa ya sabia no eso de krata aba abontene de na wo mu nyina eye nsam ana etwetwe aso ene sen accident and emergency center ANE center ya ofre hokofo emergency no wono mo kire se nipa no ayema abo apeso wo ho entinya de a wo mbagi nipa e wo ho biem sada na krata no echiremo no wo mu si emergency center no sene memo ode pa na wode nipa no eba ho a wono mo afa nipa abro so ana asem padodo a wo ho a nipa betumi ada so no enka ye ediasa enso 37 enso sanse nipa no do so da bia nti wo matumi amoamo wo ho a masese nipa 61 ediosia baako ena wo hwe won na nya no nko a wono egu akire nko a so eye ediasa 934 amasese adwuma no mu ayeden ama won ebre sese wono nya de hwe ayarefo se de be ya obia ennam wo mo nsa so enhire ne nkwa no wo mo nya ne saa enti wo mbeka se brebra ama ne ama free sabre ye kono yade ni mu ode na ye emergency mfa gi fafa baby for district hospitals nyina wo ho nkona mpanimfo nhwemo kosi se wo mo be ntoto ya ensakraye ne nsiesie papa ebeba anope kodwama afotena ase e wo break so no oto nsafra kwa amefrempon se bo papa enra mo krata amode ba ye de atwetwe aso areho kra kan ya no pe no aho abobo ni yedie na sesei eniema ekose
ebe na kakani na emergency medicine doctors in Penifono any management edin komo efa the number of cases na ba na elbahono na do no mo say facility now you see for Nipa 37 no matter over 60 patients on admission and na 34 so ego echi into much mu 34 no we patient flow na any possible say anybody mu na no menya space for them it is one map a beam at the can wow we say for the next 24 hours unya baby momonda ne ba ko e the line na so wu a na wo ye ne dey it better say ebe mo makot the district and peripheral hospitals no na joma ye interventions kakrama wo mo pim say ye bitima clear na omo ebu san kontane champion for no mo say e trust because you mo say o ma bi be ka ho a obi bitima ewu a na ehun hia na ya avoidable eja okọ district na peripheral na dinsu esinisho na ema no mo jira kwa na obi bitima chance ko pim say ye ka mo ben ha ya within the 24 hours and no, you say it should be just an amount like call for emergency meeting with the Ghana Health Service Directorate. And massage meeting, no medical superintendents, na on participate. Will be actually do bit me. Now, medical problem on you, Mr. Nak or more, some specialists, no money, it's the emergency decision specialists, say, no money, it's a platform. The medical director, also the head of emergency medicine, also any penny say yeah, say cases in the cohort. The emergency, the so critical, no, yeah, the cohort.
Enti owura Kwame Frimpong ya woto nkrama konfanochi aban ya asabia na wo kire nsemu se enra wo mo kan ne nso ade achi yi enkomodie ba ko mienu bi nti no wono mo eje omo a wo mo de ni mo odin pa no na wo a wo de ne emergency na nso enhyeda nya yade wo no de na wape ba bia fa na wono mo ahwe okosi se enema bekoyie na enwumre ye ya yeguso de kase no eba no ata AFIA ya ehwe apomde ho nsem so aba Yewura kwabnamenta akando ene na so yemu mpanimfo de query krata wode ehun sembisa ema management ya wo moda konfanochi aban ya asabia ano wono mo kire se wo mote se channel 1 TV news ka ensembisa de yedi kan kire mu ya se nra nwumre wo mo de krata aba ya se emergency center no wo mo enyi new cases bia mu no na ministry no ekire se nanu ya na mampani dia kwankire ba yese ema ya asabia bia wo Ghana ha mo ne humusuo da se obi eyare na putuprusu wo hia emergency service no mo de ne ba obepam nipa kro se ye mpa na eni ho se ye de no mo de ebehwe no abi ni ho wo mo nyi nipa no na wo hwe no na ba ne sei na mampani de sa kwankire we ya ba na Confanochi teaching hospital fo motire ba bonte de krata ati se ba sa mo nyi emergency cases bi me ba sa na mampani akwantra wode ba ye no mo ye etietia animu enti de empanimfo efi Ministry of Health ede etudwa ene se Dr. Kaakyire Papabi a wo ye kwantrafo pani a wo hwe akire wo Confanochi se CEO no won mo nan ya wada a ye ochina June 4 ewia dumienu pepepepepepepe na wakohia Minister of Health kwabnamenta akando won kwakyerɛkyerɛ n'asɛm de nti a anamo a wɔn atoe wɔtwe na so ene aya asabea no aso a enye yie sɛ wɔn akɔ etia mampani emra eno nti krata ya wɔn de aba chief director a wɔ ministry ho Desmond Boateng ene de ne nsa ahyɛ ase nti Dr. Kaakyire Papabi ena ne ho aba asɛm yi krata wɔn de ba nra nti wɔkyena wɔ minister ɛhɔ na wakoyi ne nsɛm bisa no akokyere all correct sa ade ya me ye ne kwan so ano ntintwema so ana mafomra asotwen wo ho afama me ti putupuru so krata ya efri yewura kwabnamenta akando na so ye abetodwa ebusiafo ene na Dr. Kaakyire Papabi ena eda so no wokyena ne nan ebo ne to 12 noon pepepepepepe time kra so da ho na wakono akoyi ne ho ano ha ne yegina ni ade anwumre kase ni nyina aba awieye asembeba da bi Millennium Construction ene ade ho aseda nyina emma no ye kwo won mo ho na nsase a ye part of Ghana fa na ha nyina say half full quarter plot ni nyina won mato amaye won wi a won besi ye dream houses ene mansion no amaye no masa ye renovation bi a ye pe wo ye fie mu Kumase Boshay na Yas Junction Fanambes no egu screen ne so ne mpanimfo enkasa won moda Romania beso mo midi edi AFIA tumwa Kaakyire ne
Obrempon akwasi jebo
yada mo ase edi mu esi ha obrafie ebeto